Good morning, happy Monday, and welcome to the Monday Morning Pep Talk. For the next few weeks, we're going to focus on fears around major professional decisions. There's some common themes we're going to focus on, but I think each deserves its moment in the spotlight. So this week, we're going to start with I'm afraid to leave my job. For the record, I've left my job on 4 notable occasions. One of those times when I left, I did not have a job. 3 of those times, I made sure that I had some income coming in, either through a reduction in my hours in my current job or project work, to ensure that I still had income. I'll dig into the lessons I've learned through all of these transitions in a moment, but first let's dig into the problem. There are a few components to the problem here. The primary fear that I see in most cases, and have experienced myself, is financial insecurity. We fear that by giving up our primary source of income, we won't be able to survive. Another fear that often comes up is the gap that we create in our resume that we are afraid will turn future employers off and make it difficult for us to find a new job. And finally, we believe these decisions are irreversible. We assume that if we leave a job, we can never get it back. So how do we frame it more productively and address some of these discrete problems? Let's take them one at a time. As it relates to financial instability, only you know what is financially comfortable and stable for you. You should have an idea of what it costs to live your life, how much it costs for your house, your food, your transportation, etc. And you should have an idea of how you can fulfill those needs, whether it's through a job, whether it's through savings, whether it's through asking help from friends and family, part-time work, but really understanding what do you need and what sources and resources do you have available. I know people that can stretch $1 a mile and can leave a job knowing they'll be okay for a period of time before they need to make money again. I know people that have set X number of dollars aside and said, I'm not going to work for 6 months and I'm going to be okay. And I know people that have moved in with their friends or family to lower their expenses for a period of time. And I know people who have done a combination of all these things. Financial stability is unique to you. So it's really understanding what makes you comfortable and how you can bridge that gap. I've gone through this multiple times. And for me, in 2 of the cases, I just asked my employer to transition me to part-time. I said, I'd like to work less hours and I acknowledge I'll make less money, but that's what I'm needing right now. We often don't even think that's an option, and we're also usually too afraid to ask. But that is something that has worked for me in multiple situations. In another case, I left a job, but made sure I had 2 projects with new companies lined up. So I wasn't getting part-time paid from my company, but I was able to find part-time project work with 2 others. And then finally, in one case, I put some money aside. I made the decision that I was going to lower my expenses. And I said, I'm going to be okay for a 6-month period of time without income coming in. Regarding that fear in the gap in your resume, ask yourself why you're making this decision in the first place. You'll find that the narrative is actually very compelling and is one that may resonate with future employers. For me, my decision to leave corporate consulting to pursue a more impactful path became a story that people wanted to hear. They saw it as me intentionally saying, I have built all these skills and now I want to use them for a greater and more meaningful purpose. So ask yourself, what is my story? What is the intention with which I'm making this decision? And can I communicate this in a positive and productive way to show that I'm making this because I'm looking to find a purpose and I'm looking to grow? And finally, regarding that the decision, is irreversible, you can ask yourself, what smaller, more manageable and reversible decisions can I make before I make this big decision? Some things you can do are talk to people at your company who have left before, understand what their transitions were like, understand how they made their decision, ask about flexible and part-time work options, ask if a leave of absence is an option. Look at other companies that may have part-time work you can do. For me, in 2013, when I was deciding to leave Accenture, I had a conversation with the leadership team and I told them what I was needing. I needed a break, but I wasn't ready to give up my job. So they told me a leave of absence was an option. So we negotiated a 6-month unpaid leave of option. They were super supportive of my decision, and they told me, hey, when you're finished with this leave of absence, you can have your old job back. You can also come back and do something completely different within the company on the other side of the world if that's what you want, and we'll make it work. And then finally, they said, if you decide you don't want to come back, we'll send you, along with a glowing reference and recommendation. So the key takeaways here are you have to know what's financially comfortable for you. You have to know what your options are in terms of support and other income. You have to think about what's my narrative around this transition. And finally, you have to ask yourself, hey, what are some of the smaller decisions I can make here before I need to make this big one? Now, let's look at a couple of things we can do this week to lean into this fear. The first and the most important, as always, is let's name the fear for you. Ask yourself, hey, what is the thing that is holding me back here the most? Is it the financial stability? Is it that gap in my resume? Is it that I just think this thing is irreversible? Because once you name it, it'll be easier to unpack it and address it. And then secondly, just start to explore, hey, what are the 1 or 2 incremental steps I can take or smaller decisions before I have to make this big one? Can I talk to someone who's made this transition before? Can I look at part-time opportunities within the company and outside of the company? Can I lower my expenses and find some help, with my basic needs even before I decide to make this decision? The goal here is to really understand the fear and explore some of those smaller reversible decisions before you have to make this big one. We wish you the best of luck. Please let us know how it goes and if there's any way we can support you in this work. As always, I'm grateful for your time and attention this morning and hope you have a peaceful and fulfilling rest of your week. Please remember that I love you, I believe in you, and I am here for you. Take care of yourself and one another, and we will see you next week.